I think one thing that really amazes me about Min Huijin is her ability to deflect just about any question that she is asked. The photos were just a gift from someone I know, and they were from a few years ago. First and foremost, we don't care who gave you these pictures. We don't care what time frame you got them in. It could have been from the age of the dinosaur. I don't care. The question is, why do you have them hanging up in your studio? What is up, my guardian angels? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one that is heartbreaking and just absolutely terrifying for me, and it has me questioning the future of K-pop, because if things continue going down this route, I don't know if I can continue to be a K-pop fan. But we are going to be discussing New Jeans, Adore's new girl group, and Adore is a sub-label of HYBE. The CEO of Adore is Min Huijin, and she is the huge controversy behind all these girls, amongst other things. And to be honest, a lot of the time, I have been a huge advocate for minors not debuting, or at least idols who are under the age of 16. And I feel like 16 is actually really pushing the limit, considering just how harsh and unforgiving and cold this environment is. We just saw what the world of K-pop did to Kim Karam, and I just don't think it is safe to be having minors on it. And this is one of the reasons why. But on the far end of the spectrum, my fears are always about things like over-sexualization. And this is one of the major reasons why we are having this video today. So I've divided this video into a total of 5 chapters. We're going to talk about what a creative director is. I'm going to be talking about the information about Heejin that is falsified, and mind you, just because I do not like the woman or trust her does not mean that I can justify falsified information on her name, and I just needed to clear that information up, because I am a firm believer in criticizing people based off of actual information that can be proven, and if this stuff isn't proven about her, I have no intentions of criticizing her on that. I want to talk about why she isn't trusted, her ridiculous responses to the allegations, and I'm going to talk about the arguments that K-pop stans have been bringing up against people who are choosing to boycott this new group and not support it. So first and foremost, what is a creative director? The main definition of a creative director is very hard to pin, but their responsibility is to turn the vision of a project into a visual concept. This means that they work really close with stylists, with glam, with the photographers, videographers, set designers, merch production, graphic designers, and production companies. So the reason why I'm bringing up the definition of a creative director is because a lot of people who have been defending her have been saying things like, well, she was not the stylist, she was not, etc. So therefore she's not responsible for any of the concepts making that has been happening with certain groups that she was in charge with. The main issue that's got everybody very concerned is that there were some over-sexualizing concepts there, some Lolita-inspired concepts. Because she took part in creating the branding of these groups, a lot of people are side-eyeing her because of it. But people who defend her say, well, she was only a creative director. She was never the music video director for any of these things. What most people don't seem to understand is what her genuine desk job was. When she first got into SM in 2002, yes, she was a graphic designer, but then she eventually was promoted to a creative director. Her responsibilities involved overseeing the planning and the production of album work, costumes, and music videos. That means that coming up with the concepts for the outfits that the stylist would put together and the concepts of the music videos that the music video directors would direct, she was taking part in all of it. Not to mention the fact that she's actually credited with shifting the visual direction of the K-pop industry to become more concept-driven. You cannot be given that level of credit for drawing pictures on an album. And I think people are downplaying the amount of power that she has. Not to mention, 2017, she was actually given a spot in the SM board of directors. She wasn't just drawing pictures, I promise you. So the idea that she wasn't a stylist, therefore she didn't make the styling decisions, you need to understand that stylists work under her leadership to make the styling decisions that they do for the groups that they did. So she tells them the vision. This is what I expect. The stylists are supposed to come up with pieces that meet the vision. So when people sit down to decide what is the vision for this music video, what image are we trying to convey, she is there and she's taking a part of it. And to say that all she did was draw pictures is ridiculous. Saying that she wasn't the music video director, you're right, she wasn't. Yet she had to work with music video directors in close contact with them to make sure that the vision of the song was being portrayed in the music video. So yeah, I don't see how any of these misconceptions are helping her in the argument. In fact, if anything, they're not helping the situation.
Yellow and blue, fantastic.
Now let's look at the false allegations, and there's specifically two false allegations that I wanted to look at. The fact that she had said some really unsettling things about Jisung of NCT Dream. Now, this was a translation from an Instagram post by Choi Jae-wong, and he was the guy who was responsible for that photo shoot overall, not her. Now, who took this translation and posted it and claimed that she had something to do with this? This was false information. It is not true. This is not from her. She had nothing to do with the day's photo shoot. So I just don't think people should use that against her. I understand that she has very, very shady things that we are going to talk about later on that make her look questionable, but for crying out loud, can we please not lie on her name? The next one was that the Sulli schoolgirl Lolita inspired photo shoot was also her idea. Now, I also knew that this was false because there was a time when I was looking up kind of like all the controversies that Sulli had been involved in, because I genuinely wanted to understand where the hate she got was coming from and how it exploded to Sulli ending up losing her life. And I came across an article of the photographer who mentioned that Sulli reached out to him personally with this entire concept, saying that this is generally what she wanted for the photo shoot. Sulli has been a victim of a lot of things, that is true, but claiming that she is a victim in this particular situation of mean heejin is just not true. And I don't think that people should try to, emphasize that to make her look even more bad. The bad things we have on her are enough to make her look terrible. Believe me, you do not have to make up stuff to try and make her look terrible. Now, let's talk about why she's considered suspicious. Now, the first thing, and probably the one thing that is blowing everybody's minds out right now, are the pictures in her studio. Now, she has a set of pictures in her studio, and as an artist, a lot of people know that your studio is where you hang out all the pictures that inspire you and stuff. And all the images that she has there are, I want to clarify that the women in these images, except for the young Brooke Shields, are adults. However, they are playing roles of minors in movies that generalize pedophilia. And the whole thing is very, just to say that it is unsettling doesn't even begin to cover it. It's mortifying, really, that she had these pictures within the walls of her studio. Now, the terms of Brooke Shields and what's freaking everybody out is because Crystal from FX had given her an image of Brooke Shields saying that she should use that as inspiration, which, to be honest, kind of is making me look at Crystal sideways, like, girl, what? Like, did you not know about Brooke Shields? I don't know. I live in Africa and I know about Brooke Shields, so I don't understand what she was trying to do with that. But the idea was that Brooke Shields is one of the most over-sexualized minors just in the history of entertainment. And I mean, we're talking about at 11 years old, she played a child prostitute in a movie. So that should tell you a lot about that. Now, specifically, the picture, I believe, was from the photo shoot where she was wearing Calvin Klein jeans and where she said the famous line, "What comes in between me and my Calvin Klein jeans? Nothing." And Brooke has mentioned that at that time she was very innocent and she didn't know what the words meant. But I also want to clarify that Brooke does not see herself herself as a victim, and she does not regret her career at all. Probably part of the reason is the power that her mother had to protect her from just about anybody. And part of the reason why people hated her mother was how overprotective she was of Brooke herself. She made sure nobody touched her. She made sure she was always home on time, went to school, completed her education, and things like that. And because people couldn't just do whatever they wanted with her, they definitely hated her mother because of it. And that's why her mom was blamed for a lot of things that I feel like also some of the producers should have been blamed for, but they never were. So I just wanted to clarify that's just kind of like how Brooke sees the whole situation. And I was also bringing that up because a lot of people are saying, well, because Brooke doesn't regret it, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. The issue is her regretting it or not regretting it is her story, and that's how she chooses to tell it, and that's okay. That doesn't make the situation she was in okay. It simply isn't. And just because she wasn't traumatized by it and she was protected by her mother from it traumatizing her does not make the situation okay. And then the other thing is obviously her possible influence on the inappropriate concepts that were applied to SM groups when she was working there. So considering that she may have had some power as a creative director in either choosing the concepts or co-signing the concepts or helping bring those concepts to life, it's raising a lot of concerns for people. And honestly, I think that the concerns are very valid.
Here we go.
So speaking specifically on concerns between her and New Jeans, which is the group that she's overseeing right now, the first thing that bothers people is her close relationship with the girls. Now, one thing I can say is that you can be friends. I have teenage friends, okay, even though I'm 25 years old. But the nature of the relationship between her and these girls is what's terrifying to people, because she tried to paint it as a very sweet relationship. But the way she's spoken of about the youngest member, at least, especially for some reason alluding to her innocence, has really got people like questioning stuff. Because even with my teenage friends, I'm not sitting around thinking about their innocence. The only time I even think about their innocence is when and if they have like delusional views of the world. I'm like, oh, you're a teenager, you're still innocent, you don't know a lot. But the obsession with just their innocence and the fact that she feels a need to even discuss it when she was asked to talk about the members is just strange. And a lot of people are freaked out by it, and I understand that. The other thing is the number of minors in the group, and K-pop has a history of debuting minors, but having 4 out of 5 members of the group being entirely minors and having the youngest having barely turned 14 years old is freaking people out. And I kind of see why they're doing it, because maybe K-pop has been pushing the limits by debuting 1 minor and 2 minors. People are like, okay, but there's adults in the group, maybe they can take care of the member, everything seemed fine, or at least we can tolerate this. But having that many minors is becoming very difficult for people to tolerate, and I understand where they're coming from. The next one is the Cookie lyrics mistranslation situation. So it turns out that the lyrics that were shown in the music video for Cookie allegedly had some mistranslations in them. And a lot of people are wondering, well, first and foremost, why weren't they thorough to make sure that someone who actually knew what they were saying was translating these lyrics? Did they do it because it was a genuine mistake, or did they do it on purpose because they're trying to create more controversy? And then finally is the way she was very deflective and ridiculous in her responses to the allegations. Her tone seemed very dismissive. She never truly addressed anything in there, and her actions are making people even more suspicious, and I can't say I blame them. I think one thing that really amazes me about Min Heejin is her ability to deflect just about any question that she is asked. The photos were just a gift from someone I know, and they were from a few years ago. First and foremost, we don't care who gave you these pictures. We don't care what time frame you got them in. It could have been from the age of the dinosaur. I don't care. The question is, why do you have them hanging up in your studio? Why were they there in the first place? What was the point of them being around? We're not interested in knowing when you got them. Answer the question. To make things even worse, she may have exposed herself even more, because if someone you know or someone who's your friend gifts you things like this, don't friends gift you pictures based off of your personal taste? And if your personal taste is watching movies that show the generalization of pedophilia, you're not making yourself look good. The response to the cookie lyrics, even worse. We made this album with the heart of carefully baking cookies. Really? Let's be serious for more than 3 seconds. Because this is not an actual response. What does this mean? Does this mean the process of making the album is similar to the process of making cookies? Is that what you're saying? Because the way this is just so dry and flat as a response shows just how much she does not give a shit about what she's saying. She doesn't care because she has so much power and she knows there's nothing anybody can do to stop her. What makes it even worse is that now she's talking about trying to create a legal team dedicated to protect the girls and care about the interest of the girls. Honey, the concern over your behavior is out of the best interest for the girls. And the fact that for some reason she's trying to do this to intimidate people into silence is giving people the opportunity to even suspect you even more. I don't see what on earth she's trying to accomplish by saying things like this, because our concern is the girls, and your behavior is the reason why we have that concern in the first place. Now let's talk about the arguments that people have against people choosing to boycott new jeans or not support them. The first one is that you stay in groups with minors. This is true. 1 or 2 minors in a group is very difficult to handle, and we've constantly complained about this, and it's very frustrating. But having a group with majority minors is where I draw the line, at least for me. I just don't feel right as a 25-year-old standing a group like that, listening to their music, and knowing the person who backs them up. I'm not interested in giving her my money and my streams. It's just not going to happen. The next one is that people are nitpicking. The problem is people have a good reason to nitpick because of heejin's behavior. Her behavior is very untrustworthy, and the reason why people are nitpicking is because she's given them something to nitpick in the first place. The other one is that why didn't you call her out before? The outcries about her have existed before. One thing you do have to notice, though, is that society is ever changing. And there was a time where women were always painted as incapable of being the aggressors in abusive or very strange situations. All right. But this has changed over time. And the fact that when people are calling her out, your number one argument is, well, why didn't you say this before? Really? How about be proud that at this moment, people are willing to call out a woman who's shady and not make justifications for her? Because in my opinion, if this is your initial response to people calling her out, then there's something very wrong with you. And I know what you're going to say, Cheryl, you call out hypocritical behavior on your channel all the time. You are right. I do. But there's a difference between calling out hypocritical behavior when it is necessary and using it right now when it is not necessary, because it is literally not making you look good. And the next one is that you're just dirty-minded and she isn't the problem. I don't think you need to be dirty-minded to know suggestive lyrics. Okay, when the lyrics feel suggestive and questionable, I think people have a right to question that. And by the way, people don't do this only because they're dirty-minded. It's because they've seen the history of K-pop and they know about over-sexualization. And the idea that this is simply because we're dirty-minded is actually not even helping your argument, if we're going to be honest. Now, finally, let's talk about the usage of the P word. And is it the right word to use in the situation? If not, why? Now, conventional usage, it is a psychosexual disorder generally affecting adults characterized by sexual interest in prepubescent children. So basically, in extreme cases, they engage in intercourse with these kids. All right. Now, this term is a serious disorder, and just using it to accuse someone of something is a very serious thing. So I do suggest that when people use this term, it be for a serious situation and something that can be proven beyond reasonable doubt that this is what this person is, or they're exhibiting the behavior of the P word. I will say one thing though. You can call out her strange behavior for all I care, because her behavior is very shady. It is very questionable. She still hasn't answered the important questions that everybody want answers to. So you are more than welcome to call her out on that. But to use that specific term, especially when we haven't seen the main symptom, the obvious symptom, which is sexual attraction and arousal in the presence of children, I don't think it is wise to be using that term. Also because she said she will sue your ass. So I would suggest you be careful about that. And yeah, that is all I have to say about New Jeans. Personally for me, I will not be supporting them. You will never catch me doing that. There's no way on earth I am giving this bitch my money by streaming the music or buying anything that is from them. I just don't feel right doing so. Yeah. And I will see you guys, I think, on Saturday. I love you. Bye.